Can see the screen shared?
Yes, Prabhuji, we can see it.
Okay. Mandeham Shri Guru Shri Jitapada Kamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavangscha Sri Rupam Sagrujatam Sahaganuraganatam Vitam Tam Shajivam Sadvaitam Savadudam Panichinashaitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakam Vitamscha Mantra Guru Ajota Shika Guru Ganta Charanaya Vikarya Bandhan Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Namane Namaste Shahashwati Devi Gaudavani Jnane Nevishesha Shinuvani Pashtata Deshtane Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Se Advaita Gadadhar Shrivasti Gaur Bhakta Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare. When Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared in Navadip Dham, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, he explains that Panchatattvatmakam Krishnam Bhaktarupa Sharupakam Bhaktavataram Bhaktakyam Namami Bhakti Shaktikam. That Panchatattva, there's 5 personalities that are appearing along with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Panchatattva, we call Panchatattva. And here in Mayapur, a temple of Vedic planetarium, the ISKCON's main world headquarters, the central altar will be the altar of Panchatattva, the central deities. That in itself is quite an extraordinary topic, the Panchatattva. Actually, it should be understood more clearly in ISKCON why the Lord appears in 5 features. Why the Lord appears in 5 features and is worshipped, and why in Mayapur, in our world headquarters, we are installing the Panchatattva as the central worshipable deities, whereas everywhere else in the world, Srila Prabhupada installed Radha Krishna as essential deities. So why in Mayapur is Prabhupada installing the Panchatattva? And why does Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appear in these 5 features? Now, what do you think about those questions? What do you think about those questions? Anyway, they're very important questions, and most devotees couldn't answer. Most devotees in a movement wouldn't be able to answer why the Panchatattva is the central altar in Mayapur, and why Prabhupada did that, whereas everywhere else he installed Radha Krishna. What's the significance of that? Where is it explained? Why did he do that? And why does Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appear with these 5 features? Now, just recently, I'll come to what just recently happened. So here is an old map. We've seen this map before when we were looking at Mahaprabhu's tour, the tour to Bengal. We discussed elaborately in these sessions Mahaprabhu's return to Bengal, as was predicted by Sachimata. Tomrashop Paro Gamon Agamon Ganga Snano Habe Taragamon. He may also return to take bath in Maganga, so therefore he should reside in Puri, and Mahaprabhu did that. He did return, and we discussed that in detail. And he went to Ramkeli and then turned with the intention to go to Vrindavan. Besh Goilo Ebe Vrindavan Giye Krishna Nishevan Kori Nibride Boshia. This is Mahaprabhu's objective. Besh Goilo, having accepted this sannyas order of life. Besh Goilo Ebe Vrindavan Giya, I will go to Vrindavan, Krishna Nishevan Kori, and worship Lord Krishna Nibrite Boshia. In a secluded place. Mahaprabhu, as he was traveling through Bengal, he found that so many people came and joined him, and the crowd became so enormous that he decided, actually, this is not my intention. Instead, there's so many people are coming and they're not returning. They're just we've discussed in detail that there was the public, there was the Sankirtan and Ramkeli, which attracted the attention of the Nawab, Hussain Shah. And then Mahaprabhu, Sanatana Goswami said, well, it's not so good to travel to Vrindavan, such a large entourage, and Mahaprabhu agreed, he returned. So we discussed this map. But we're looking now specifically at Mahaprabhu appeared here in Navadip Dham, Navadip, there it is, Navadip, and his many of his associates appeared in East Bengal, this area, East Bengal. Like, for example, amongst the Panchatattva, amongst the members of the Panchatattva, Srila Advaita Thakur appeared in Bangladesh. Srila Garatha Pandit appeared in Bangladesh, and Sribas Thakur appeared in Bangladesh. They all appeared here in the northeast, in a place called Sylhet. We'll discuss in more detail on another occasion. Today we're discussing Mahaprabhu's travel to the Padma River and meeting with Tapar Mishra. But just to give you some idea of the significance of Bangladesh, what is known as modern-day Bangladesh, in the Adi Kanda, chapter 1, Sri Chaitanya Bhagavat, Srila Vrindavan Thakur explains that Prabhu Ragyai Age Sharva Porikar Janma Labilen Shabe Manush Bitore. Yeah, Porikar Bitore. That Prabhu Ragyai, on the order of Prabhu, Sharva Porika, all of his associates, Janma Labilen Shabai, all of them, they appeared Manush Bitore in human form. And he goes on to explain where they appeared. He says, Radha Janma Navadipe, Kado Chottograme, Kehu Rade, Chottograme, Ulta Deshe, Srihata Poshchime. So out of these places that he mentions Karo Janma Navadipe, Karo Chottograme. First he says Navadip, Karo. Some appeared in Navadip along with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Karo Janma Navadipe, Karo Chottograme, and some in Chottograme. Now Chottograme, that's the current the second major city in Bangladesh after Dhaka, and then Chottograme. So this is mentioned, the Chottograme. Keho Radhe, that's Nityananda Prabhu, and Oradesh, that's Orisha, and Srihata Pashchime in Srihata. That's northeast Bengal, Bangladesh. So of the 1, 2, 4 places that are mentioned, 2 of them are cities in Bangladesh. Of the 4 places that Mahaprabhu, his associates appeared, some in Radhadesh, some in Orissa, some in Chottograme, some in Srihata. So how important is East Bengal, Bangladesh? When out of the 4 places that are mentioned, 2 of them are currently towns in Bangladesh. She Deshe, She Kule, Vaishnav Avatare. This is spoken by Vrindavan Thakur, first chapter of Adi Kanda, Sri Chaitanya Bhagavat. He says that Jai Deshe, Jai Kule, that land, that family, Jai Deshe, Jai Kule, Vaishnav Avatare, the Vaishnav appears, Taha Prabhave, by his power, Loka Yojan Nishtare, Loka Yojan, 100,000 Yojan. A Yojan is 800 miles. So 800,000 miles around the area of Vaishnav appears is all considered to be delivered. Jata Prabhave, as a result because of his power. Now, in East Bengal, so many Vaishnavas, so many great Vaishnavas appeared. It's all overlapping the potency of that land. In this area appeared just in Sribas Thakur, Srila Advaita Thakur, Shivananda Sen, Murari Gupta, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's parents, Sachimata Jagadan Mr. Nilambar Chakrabarti Thakur. It's in Srihata. In Chottograme is Garada Pandit, Vasudev Mukunda Datta, Srila Pundarik Vidya Nidhi Mahadai, and then the Rup Sanartan in Jashore, Haridas Thakur in Vedhan. This is all in Bangladesh. And our acharyas, Srila Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj, Srila Gokishore Das Babaji Maharaj, all in Bangladesh appeared. And Mahaprabhu, Jaishtane Vaishnavgan Koren Bijoy, Shaishtane Hoy, Oti Punnatirtamoy. Jaishtane, that place, Jaishtane, Vaishnav Gon Goran Vijay, where Vaishnavas appear. Sheshtan Hoy, Oti Punnatirtamoy. That place is considered a sanctified place of pilgrimage, where a Vaishnava appears. Sheshtan Hoy, Oti Punnatirtamoy. And what to speak of where Mahaprabhu's internal associates, his Pradika, his eternal associates, Sri Radha, Srila Nityananda Prabhu Balaram, Srila Advaita Thakur, his Mahavishnu and Lord Shiva, Narad Muni, these special devotees, they all appear. They're all appearing in just a small area of Bengal. They're all appearing in Chittagong and Srihatta. We just visited actually those places last month. And how fortunate we were. We conducted courses that we'll discuss a little more later. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he decided to make a tour to East Bengal. Now, the reason being, we know that so many scholars came from all over India. They came to Navadip. Chaturdik hoite log Navadip jai, Navadip poile she biddar ashpai. Because Chaturdik hoile log Navadip jai. From all directions, the scholars, people were coming to Navadip because Navadip poile she biddar ashpai. If you study in Navadip, you get the taste for learning. So Navadip was known as a place of scholarship. And so many great teachers, Navadip Ache Oddapak Shiromani, the crest jewel of all the professors in Navadip Ache Oddapak Shiromani, Gangadas Pandit Heno Sandipani. Sandipani Muni, the guru of Krishna and Balaram, he appeared as Gangadas Pandit to be the teacher of Nimai. So here is Keshav Kashmiri. This picture is Keshav Kashmiri. So at this time, when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he's about 16 years old. Navadip Chandra, the rising moon of Navadip, Dvijamani, the crest jewel of the Navadip Brahmins. At this time, Gaudhari, he hadn't begun the Sankirtan movement. He began the Sankirtan movement from the time he was about 20 years old, actually, about 20 years old, having gone to Gayadam. And there he met Ishwar Puri Prabhupada, his guru. I believe that quite 2 or 3 years ago, I think we were doing these classes, I discussed that. We can always discuss again. It's very ecstatic. Mahaprabhu's initiation in Gayadam. He went to Gayadam in order to perform Shraddha for Jagannath Mishra. At that time, he saw Srila Ishwar Puri Prabhupada. He took initiation, came back, and then he began the Sankirtan movement. Parama Adbhut Kota Maha Ashambhav. Nimai Pandit Hoilu Parama Vaishnav. Nimai Pandit has become a great Vaishnava. Before that, he wasn't performing Sankirtan with the Vaishnavas in Navadip. He was performing the Bidya Lila as a great scholar. So around that time, he's 16 years old. Here he's defeated the great Digvijay Pandit. At that time, this time, Mahaprabhu was arguing regularly with Sridhar, the Kolovich of Sridhar, the banana seller, arguing regularly with him, and he was performing his lila. He'd been married. He's married to Lakshmi Priya. And Lakshmi Priya was about 11 or 12 years old. So this is the time. At that time, he suddenly decided to go to East Bengal, to Bangladesh, in order to teach, because he was so famous, and many people were already studying his commentaries and desiring him. They didn't have online classes in those days, but his manuscripts, his work, his commentaries, it mentions they're studying his commentaries. So his commentaries were recorded, and they had been made known in this part of Bengal, East Bengal. And so Mahaprabhu decided to go there. Just like I was kindly invited to the opening ceremony of the ISKCON Mangalore. I believe it's Krishna Balaram, or I forget now the deities. No, it's Krishna Balaram, I can't remember. Deities that are being installed in Mangalore and Balaram Jayanti. Who knows what deities they are? Somebody must know. So we're going to be present in that. And many of you who are listening to these weekly sessions will also be present for that temple opening. So in this way, because already you're familiar, we have relationship because we're giving the instructions. So at that time when we can meet, it will be we can instruct more. So in this way, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, his teachings were already disseminated in East Bengal, and he desired to go there to personally meet those students. And he told Lakshmi Priya, that I'm going to be away just for a few days, and so you look after your mother's needs. And in this way, he gathered a few disciples and students, but he had disciples, Nimai Pandit, and he began his journey to East Bengal. And the Mayapur Basis, for them, it was they just stood and watched as he departed, and they were thinking that how fortunate is the mother of this young man. That and so forth is the wife. How fortunate is the wife of this young man that her birth has become worthy just by having such a husband as Nimai Pandit. And they were discussing his glories as he was leaving Navadip Dham. So Mahaprabhu began to travel. Now you can see on the map here, you can see that here is Mayapur. Here is Mayapur. So here is the Ganga, just as you can see where the cursor is. Can you see it coming through Krishna Nagar? And you see there's a river. Now that's the Ganga. That is called Adi Ganga, or it's called Bhagirati Ganga. Bhagirati Ganga. And as we know, the Leela of Bhagirati Maharaj, of him bringing Ganga from the heavenly planets, she's called Mundakini, and she falls on this planet, and she's actually captured on the head of Gangadhar, Mahadev, Lord Shiva in Kailash, because her coming down from that Mundakini Ganga, coming down from the heavenly planets, where she's the Vishnu Paduk, the Vishnu Charanamrit, water which has washed the lotus feet of Lord Vishnu, coming from the heavenly planets to come and land on this planet. The planet would be destroyed. So Lord Shiva says, I will capture her in his hair. And he's called Gangadhar. And Ma Ganga, she lands on the head of Lord Shiva. And in this way, we worship Lord Shiva, Shiva Linga with Ganga Jal. Even Lord Shiva, he desires to reside on the banks of Ma Ganga in Mayapur, chanting Gauranga. Maya Purantur Bhage, Janabitire, Gauranga Bhaji Bhavami, Rohira Kutire. Residing in a cottage on the banks of Ma Ganga, Lord Shiva desires to chant the name of Gauranga. Gauranga. Maya Purantur Bhage, deep within Maya, Antu deep. Maya Purantur Bhage, Janabitire, on the banks of Ma Ganga. Gauranga Bhaji Bhavami, Gauranga, Gauranga, Gauranga. He would chant the name of Gauranga. Gauranga Bhaji Bhavami, Rohira Kutire, living in a cottage. So this is the Bhagirati Ganga in Mayapur. But you can see up here, up north, actually, it's around this area, around Rajshahi, Keturi. That's Keturi Dham is just here, where we discussed Mahaprabhu went and met Rupa and Sanatana. So they're Ganga branches, and you can see that she comes here. She's coming down here, actually here. Coming down here, and then she continues in the same direction into Bangladesh. She's called Padma. At that time, she becomes called Padmavati River, Padma. So Mahaprabhu, he journeyed here from Mayapur. He journeyed in the east direction to the banks of the Padma River. And generally, on the eastern side, now is Bangladesh. Here's Chattogram, here is Srihatta, now is Bangladesh. But at that time, it was called Purva Bengal Bhumi, East Bengal. Purva Bengal Bhumi. And the demarcation line was the Padma River. So Mahaprabhu, in order to travel to Purva Bengal Bhumi, to East Bengal, where there's so many of his associates appeared, it was a whole different, you could say, community. Is separated by Padma River, huge river. I can remember one time we were traveling across Padma River. We were traveling to North Bengal. That means we were traveling from here. We're traveling, we're traveling here across this river. It takes. We're on a train. It took us 45 minutes on the train to get from one side of the river to the other, and that was on a train. Wasn't traveling so fast, but still, it was just such a huge river. It's like an ocean. That was in the rainy season. So these rivers in Bengal, there's a Ganga Delta. Look, the Ganga Delta here is such. This is Bangladesh. All of Bangladesh here is Ganga Delta, at least up to Padma River, and this is called Sundarban. This is these forests of Bengal here, Ganga Delta, and part of it is in West Bengal, but most of it's in East Bengal, Bangladesh. Here's the border. Here's the current border between West Bengal and East Bengal. Most of this Ganga Delta is in Bangladesh. So many rivers. And in the monsoon, the rivers become insurpassable. So therefore, Bengal was divided from East Bengal to West Bengal. Now, West Bengal was called Bengal, Gaudadesh. When Mahaprabhu appeared here in Mayapur, this area here, the Gaudadesh, all the way to the Padma. And then this is East is called, it's also Gaudadesh, but specifically Purva Bengal Bhumi, East Bengal. So in order to visit Purva Bengal Bhumi, Mahaprabhu, first he came to the Padma River and he remained here. For here's where he came specifically. You can see he journeyed east direction, and here's Padma River. So there's some towns here. Prabhupada mentions Faridpur. He visited. I was recently just here in Rajshahi, and we bathed in here. So all of this area, Mahaprabhu later also came to this area and bathed in the Padma again. When he went to Ramkeli. Ramkeli is just up here. And at that time also, Mahaprabhu, he bathed in the Padma River and he left prema for Narottam Thakur Mahashai. And that's something we can discuss in more detail on a later occasion in these classes. But at this time, we're discussing Mahaprabhu's his first visit to East Bengal. We'll go back, actually. His first visit to East Bengal. And this is the area that he came and remained. And Henumate Goshana Dire Koto Din Island Padmavati Tide. This is chapter 14. Now we're reading today from chapter 14 of the Adi Kanda. Mahaprabhu was still in the youthful pastimes. He just married, as we were mentioning, he's 16 years old, just married to Lakshmi Priya. He hadn't begun the Sankirtan movement. He's Navadeep Chandra. He's the Pandit, Nimai Pandit. He's not initiated as Sri Krishna Chaitanya. He's not a sannyasi. When we were discussing Mahaprabhu's return to Bengal, in previous sessions, over the previous few months, before we were discussing Pundarik Vidyanidhi Mahadai, before that, Mahaprabhu's traveled to Ramkeli. He was a sannyasi then. He was a sannyasi. Now he's traveling to East Bengal. He's not a sannyasi. He's not even the propagator of the holy name, the Sankirtan movement. He's simply a pandit. Not simply, but he's enjoying his leela as a scholar. So Mahaprabhu, he likes so much the beautiful environment there in the Padma River. It's very beautiful. Padma River is very beautiful. Here we are, just there. We were there last week, a couple of weeks ago. We were there. Now, His Holiness Srila Jayapataka Swami Maharaj, he visited this same area. This is perhaps 20 years ago. 20 years ago. There's the same area here, Padma River. Keturi Dam. Mahaprabhu, so much he appreciated the atmosphere there that he remained. It was very beautiful. On both sides, there's beautiful forests. On both sides, beautiful forests. Now, because the area itself is, on forest. There's India, and this is India, and then here is Bangladesh now. That's India, that side. Mahaprabhu was on that side. He came on that side, and he bathed here. And he left prema for Narottam Thakur Mahashai. So Mahaprabhu, he enjoyed the area. He stayed there several months, and devotees, the students from all over all over Bengal, they came. In the forests, he wandered on the forests of both banks of the Padma River at that time, and he performed and he taught. He purified the whole area just by him visiting there. That Bhagavati means the Padma River actually at that time is considered a forgotten place because the Pandavas didn't visit there because the Ganga wasn't flowing there. Ganga had turned and gone to Bhagirati. But when Mahaprabhu came, he blessed her. Bhagavati Padmavati Shaidin Hoite Jogga Hoilo Savarlok Pavitra Korite, that she became as purifying as Ma Ganga because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu went there and he bathed there. So she became Sarvalok Pavitra Korite, as pure to purify the whole universe, Jogga Hoilo. Because Shaidin Hoite, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu went and bathed there. Now we have our ISKCON. We have our ISKCON project here. And just there, you can see that it's very, I'll go back to that one. Here is the Padma River, where Mahaprabhu came. And here is Ram Kelly, where Rupa and Sanatan met Mahaprabhu when he visited. He was up north further. And our ISKCON temple is just here in Bangladesh, just on the border, on the river. You can it's a couple of kilometers to the Padma River. So we went and bathed there. And we have 45-room guest house being built there. And we taught courses there, teachers training courses. How I think in Khetri Dham, no, in Mangalore, we taught, some of you perhaps took our teachers training courses in Mangalore. We did several. And so similarly here in Khetri Dham, we did teachers training. We were considering it a great honor to be able to, there at such a holy place where Narottam Thakur Maharaj wrote his bhajans that Prabhupada was so dear to Prabhupada. Like, Gaurangya Duti Pada Jadhana Shampada Manusha Janama Paya Radha Krishna Nabaja Hari Hari Bipale Janama Goinu, all these songs of Narottam Thakur that Prabhupada sings. He wrote these songs at this place, at his birthplace. And so we considered it as a great fortune that we were able to conduct a training program on teachers, to train teachers to teach Prabhupada's books all throughout North Bengal, in Khetri Dham. What an honor we received in our life as a result of that experience. Go Radha Govinda. Radha Govinda is because they're eternal associates of the Lord. That's a big question. Why the Panchatattvas? Why 5? That's the question. Why 5? And we're not going to answer today, but we're just, this is a question that every devotee should be able to answer. Why he appears with 5 personalities? Why those 5? And why they're worshipped in Mayapur as a central altar, Panchatattva. These are all questions that, by deep study of Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita. Well, actually, the point is that we're discussing now is that the Panchatattva, as we worship in ISKCON, they're the first deities that Prabhupada worshipped when Prabhupada went to New York, and he began offering the apple and began doing arati. Prabhupada beginning worship, beginning archana in ISKCON. He worshipped the picture of the Panchatattva. He requested Jadurani, young girl, she was an artist. He had a book with it was Chaitanya Charitamrita. Prabhupada went with him to America on the boat. He had his Chaitanya Charitamrita published by Gaudiya Mat Bhagbaza Kolkata. There was a picture of the Panchatattva. So he showed that picture to Jadurani. Prabhupada's reading that book. He's reading Chaitanya Charitamrita. And he he also gave class on Chaitanya Charitamrita in 1968. So Prabhupada had the Chaitanya Charitamrita. He showed Jadurani the picture of the Panchatattva. He told her to paint a larger picture they're worshipping. That picture is still, we have an old picture of Panchatattva here in Mayapur, but I don't know where that first picture of Panchatattva that was worshipped by Prabhupada, painted by Jadharani. That should certainly be kept somewhere. And the Panchatattva, so the Panchatattva, they're mentioned by Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. Panchatattva Krishna Bhakta Rupa Sarupakam Bhakta Avatanam Bhakta Kyam Namami Bhakta. And the first place that the Panchatattva appeared is here, Ketri Dham. The first place the Panchatattva appeared. Of course, they were dancing together in Navadip, but not as a formal, but actually they were just associates, and others were present. But as we worshiped these five personalities, and they appeared in this form in Ketri for the first Gaur-Purnima festival after Mahaprabhu disappeared. And there was several years had passed, and then Narottam Thakur, he arranged the first Gaur-Purnima festival after Mahaprabhu's departure, and Lord Nityananda Prabhu's wife was the residing acharya. Lord Nityananda Prabhu had left, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had left. All the devotees were simply still just experiencing the waves of love of God due to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's presence. And after 48 years of manifest pastimes, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu departed in Jagannath Puri. And then sometime after that, Lord Nityananda Prabhu departed. And then remaining on the planet, were the disciples of the Goswamis, the disciples of Jiva Goswami. The Goswamis were also Mahaprabhu's Rupa and Sanatan, and had also departed. The six Goswamis of Vrindavan, they're also Mahaprabhu's contemporaries. And they're in Vrindavan, so they also departed and left. The next generation was Narottam Thakur Mahashai, Shamananda Pandit, and Srinivas Acharya, these three students of Jiva Goswami. And they returned to Bengal. They were in Vrindavan, they returned to Bengal. And then at that time, Narottam, he arranged the first festival, Shammelan, the first assembly of the Vaishnavas to discuss. So that happened at Ketri Dham. Is the first, you could say, the first major meeting of all the Vaishnavas after Mahaprabhu's departure in order to discuss the Sankirtan mission. And Narottam Thakur became such an acharya. And these three great preachers, they brought the books of the Goswamis. They brought the books that had been written in Vrindavan on the order of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. The Goswamis wrote the books, the Bhakti Shastras. Kabe Bhakti Shastra Karayalikon Chaitanya Kota Shune Chaitanya Chinton, Kabi Bhakti Shastra Karaya Likon. They were writing the books. Bhakti Rashamrita Sindhu, Upadeshamrita, commentaries on the Bhagavatam, other books revealing Radha and Krishna's pastimes in Vrindavan. Those books had all been written by the Goswamis. And then their students, Narottam Thakur Mahashai, Shamananda Prabhu, and Srinivas Thakur, they brought those books back to Bengal and began the preaching in Bengal. And the first place that Narottam came was he returned to his birthplace, Ketri, and they began the first meeting of the Vaishnava society. And at that time, the Panchatattva appeared. So that's Ketri Dham, such an important place. And probably many of you have never visited. And I was just able to do a teacher's training course there. Can you believe such a blessing that I was able to do a teacher's training course in the place where the Panchatattva first appeared in this world as a worshipable team. Apart from that, they were in Navadip doing. But then now, yes, officially, we are the incarnations for this age, and they revealed themselves at that place, Ketri Dham. So we're discussing Mahaprabhu. He's traveled to East Bengal, and all the people from all around East Bengal, they came to take his class. And some of them were actually given certificates. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he gave certificates. Imagine that. If you're able to, someone comes, they discover a certificate signed by Nimai Pandit of Navadip. Perhaps such a certificate still exists, just 500 years ago. Mahaprabhu personally gave. Nimai Pandit Oddapak Shiromani Ashi Achin Sharva Dik Hoilo Dhoni, in all directions. Nimai Pandit has come, the great scholar. We've read his commentaries. We hear his explanations. And now that great scholar, Nimai Pandit, Addapak Shiromani, the jewel, the Shiromani, the jewel on the head, the crash jewel of all scholars, Addapak Shiromani, Nimai Pandit, Ashiachin Sharbadik Hoilo Dhoni. In all directions, this news was being spread that Nimai Pandit, the crash jewel of all the scholars, has come to East Bengal. Bidya Prabhav Deki Chamatka Chite, seeing his learning. Bidya Prabhav, the power of his learning. Bidya Prabhav Deki, seeing his manifest Prabhav. We have Prabhav, means a manifestation of potency. Bidya Prabhav is the manifestation, the power of his learning. The power of his learning. Bidya Prabhav Deki, to see that. Chamatka Chite, seeing the power of his learning, everyone was astonished in their hearts. Shota Podiya Ashi Lagiye Podite, hundreds and hundreds of students were coming to learn from him. Lagiye Podite, and began studying from him. So Mahaprabhu, he enjoyed his period of stay in East Bengal. And he's touring there, and he remained there for 3 months. He remained there for 3 months. Srila Vrindavandas Thakur, he comments that say bhagye adda piha shara Bangladeshe Sri Chaitanya Sankirtan Kore Sri Purushe, that even now, because of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is visiting East Bengal, Shai Bhagye, Adda Pai Shara Bangladeshe, because of the fortune they had that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu visited East Bengal and toured on the banks of the Padma River, giving classes, because of that fortune, Shai Bhagye, Sri Chaitanya Sankirtan Kore Sri Purushe, that in East Bengal, even today, Sri and Purush, men and women, Sri Chaitanya Sankirtan Kore, they have an attachment for chanting the holy name of the Lord. And we can see in Bengal, East Pura Bengal Bhumi, the Sankirtan movement is so much flourishing. We have, I mean, in Bangladesh, probably outside of India, I mean, India is in a different category because so many huge cities where we've been preaching Krishna consciousness for decades, Delhi, Mumbai, Kolkata, South India, Chennai, Bangalore, how much preaching all through North India ISKCON has been doing. So ISKCON is so powerful in India. But after India, the next most populated country of devotees is Bangladesh. Probably we have more than 50,000 devotees in a small country like Bangladesh, with more than 100 centers, 10 or 15 major temples in such a small area of land, Bangladesh. So here, Vrindavandas Thakur says that because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu visited that place, so the people have become so pious. So Mahaprabhu, at first he mentioned to Lakshmi Priya that he would be gone for a few days, and because he was remaining there for some time, then he actually stayed. He enjoyed roaming on the banks of the Padma River in East Bengal, so he stayed there for 3 months. And feeling the pangs of separation from Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in Mayapur, Lakshmi Devi, she couldn't tolerate the separation. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu at this time, he was about 16 years old. We mentioned Nimai Pandit, Navadip Chandra, the shining jewel, the moon, Navadip Chandra, the rising moon, Navadip Chandra. Chandrodaya Mandir, Prabhupada called this Chandrodaya, the rising moon temple, Chandrodaya Mandir. So Chaitanya Chandra, the moon of Navadip Chandra, Chaitanya Chandra, the rising moon of Navadip, Chaitanya Chandra. He was so attractive. You can imagine how much Lucky Devi was in love with Goshundra. She was 11 years old and she got married. And she was cooking and serving and resting with him. You know, imagine how attached she was. and he just left, and he hadn't come back for several months. So this separation was too much for Lucky Devi. At night, she would just lie down on the bed and cry. She would just lie down. She wouldn't tell anybody how much pain she was experiencing, but it was intolerable for her to just night after night lie down alone. And her husband, the shining jewel of all the professors and pundits in Navadip, Nimai Pandit, Chaitanya Chandra, he hadn't returned. So she was hardly eating anything. She would simply lie down on the bed and cry at night, and then she couldn't carry on. Prabhu Biraha sharp, the Prabhu Biraha sharp. This is a verse from Chaitanya. This is Chaitanya Charitamrita, actually, Adi Leela, chapter 16, where Mahaprabhu's pastimes at this time, they're summarized by Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami. So he's explaining this incident that Prabhu, text 21 of chapter 16, Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, Prabhu Bidaha Sharp, the Bidaha Sharp, the snake of separation. Prabhu Bidaha Sharp, Lucky David Dongshila, it bit Lucky Devi Dongshila. But this is an analogy. She wasn't actually bitten by a snake. It's the Bidaha Sharp, the snake of separation. The snake, just like there's the Kala Sharp, the snake of time. So this is the Bidaha Sharp, the snake of separation. Prabhu to Bidaha, separation from Prabhu, Sharp, that snake. Lucky Devi, Dongshala, that bit like Lakshmi Devi. Bidaha Sharp Bishe, Bidaha Sharp Bishe, the poison of the snake of separation. Bidaha Sharp Bishe, Tar, Paraloka, Hoilo. As a result of the poison of the snake of separation, she attained the ultimate eternal spiritual world. Prabhu Bidaha Sharp, Lucky Devi Dongshila, Bidaha Sharp Bishe, Tar, Paraloka, Hoilo. Bidaha Sharp Bishe, the poison of the snake of separation. So she couldn't tolerate the separation anymore, and she simply went to the bank of Maganga and went into internal meditation, and she left her body. Out of the Bidaha Shabish, the poison of separation, she couldn't tolerate anymore. So she just on her own will, she departed from this world due to the poison of the snake of separation, of feelings of separation from Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. That poisoned her. And she left her body. She wasn't bitten by a snake. So she left, and Mahaprabhu, when he returned, actually, several months later, after 3 months, he returned. Then it wasn't until late in the evening, actually, that even it was discussed, the departure of Lucky Devi. First, Mahaprabhu returned, and then he had his students with him. They all returned together, and they went and took bath in the Ganga, and they actually relaxed and played there. And then Gauchandra, he came back and he did puja, and then he sat and took prasadam. And then after taking prasadam, he was sitting with friends that had gathered there to welcome him back, and some relatives, and he chatted with them for several hours, even joking about the behavior and accent of the people in East Bengal. And then as the friends were beginning to leave, then Sachimata, she was in the other room. And then Mahaprabhu asked, so, well, what has become of your daughter-in-law? And Sachimata, she couldn't even answer. And then some of the friends and relatives who were there, they said that Sachi Devi had attained the supreme destination. And then Mahaprabhu, that's when they informed him that she departed several hours after he had returned and settled down back at home in Navadip. Yeah, speaker. So just around the time of Mahaprabhu, just around the time of him preparing to depart from spending those 3 months on the banks of the Padma River in East Bengal, now he's just preparing to depart, and many of the local Vaishnavas and aristocrats, they came and they're offering gifts to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, like the different blankets and cloth and gold and silver and drinking vessels and different like mats, grass mats, a shital patti. At nighttime here in Mayapur, it's a heat wave in India. I'm sleeping on the shital patti. It's a grass mat. It's very cool. And different clothes and other items that were very precious. They were bringing them to offer to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And just at that time, one Brahmin, whose name was Tapan Mishra, so he was a Vaishnava who had been initiated in Krishna consciousness. He was chanting Hare Krishna, but still he was confused about the goal of life. And a Brahmin appeared to him in a dream and said that this Pandit, who has come from Navadip, he's not an ordinary being. He's the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And you can go and you can inquire from him about the goal of life and how to achieve it. And so this Brahmin, he was very astonished to have that dream. And then he approached Nimai just at this time when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was about to depart and return back to Mayapur. And they began to inquire from him about sadhan, the goal of life and the process of achieving it. And what Mahaprabhu replied at that time, he actually broke his character, you could say, because he hadn't really begun the preaching of the Sankirtan movement at that time. Although that is the purpose of his incarnation, Kali Juge, Jugadharma Name Prochar, Toti Lage Pita Varna Chaitanya Avatar. He's appeared in a golden form in order to propagate the holy name as the Yugadharma for Kali Yuga. But he hadn't begun that. He's performing the Vidya Lila. But at this time, upon being, even though he's 16 years old, and it's 4 years later that he takes initiation from Ishwar Puri, but at this time being inquired by Tapan Mishra, because in the dream that a fulgent demigod-like person, they said that this Pandit is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So being approached in that way, then Nimai Pandit, he began to speak and began to instruct about the Yuga Dharma. And this is very extraordinary that it just spontaneously, he begins to give instructions on the holy name of the Lord and the significance of his chanting and how he's appeared to spread that all over the world in this age. And so we'll discuss that in more detail in next week's session, what the conversation that took place between Tapan Mishra and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu on the banks of the Padma River in East Bengal. We'll discuss that in more detail next week. And I'll show you a few more slides because we visited some other places in Bangladesh on this trip, and we can just show you a few more slides. Some places that we never visited before, like this place. This is the birthplace of Mukunda Datta and Vasudev Datta. They're such dear associates of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu that perform so much Leela, which we will discuss in these sessions in due course of time. So their birthplace, ISKCON is acquired. The original building is there. You can see part of the wall. And ISKCON is developing a project here at the birthplace of Vasudeva and Mukunda Datta. We visited that place. There's some remnants of the earlier, that's a Gaur Mandir that they used to perform Gaur Purnima festivals and worship. And their worship, ISKCON has temple there, and we're worshiping Gauranitai deities there. There's you can see back there. I'll go back a little bit. The wrong direction. Yeah. See, we have here Vasudev Datta, Mukunda Datta, the birthplace. And they're such intimate associates of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And their pastimes we'll discuss in these sessions. And we'll keep you updated on the development of this project in ISKCON, Bangladesh, the birthplace of Vasudev Datta and Mukunda Datta. Just we're beginning to develop this project. And His Holiness Srila Jayapataka Swami Maharaj visited this place and has desired to develop an ISKCON project here, educational project. And we also visited deities that were worshipped by Pundarik Vidyanidhi Mahadaya and Madhavendra Puri, a special deity. And we also visited the birthplace of Gadadhar Pandit on Sri the Avibhav Titi Mahotsav Din, the appearance day of Sri Gadada Pandit, where ISKCON has established a project here at the birthplace of Sri Gadada Pandit in East Bengal, Chattogram, and we were there on his appearance day. And we're the first foreigner to actually visit that place. It's just recently been identified by His Holiness Jayapataka Swami Maharaj as a holy birthplace of Gadada Pandit, and we'll be developing this place. And you're all welcome to visit sometime. Many places of pastimes of Gadada Pandit in his childhood, and we also conducted some teachers training courses in these places. So we'll come back next week and discuss in more detail the discussion that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had with Tapan Mishra on the banks of the Padma River here, when he first time he mentions the Hare Krishna mantra and its significance for the practice of developing love of Godhead. And we'll discuss more on that next week, and we'll also discuss about how that's related to the later pastimes of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in Varanasi, preaching to Sanatana Goswami, Sanatan Shikha, and the very interesting link that this particular incident has with the later pastimes of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu teaching Sanatana Goswami. We'll also be discussing that next week. So are there any questions on the topics discussed today? Is somebody there, or I should select these people? Sharita.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, pranams. Thank you so much for taking us through life of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Prabhuji, you just asked one question like, why are these 5 deities installed in Mayapur? What is the significance? I'm just guessing. Is it because like one is that they are eternal associate of Lord, and in Kali Yuga because only Sankirtan, Nama Sankirtan of the Lord only will deliver the people. So they were like a Sankirtan team and as a group.
That's it. Yes, that's it. He's performing Sankirtan. He's appeared to perform Sankirtan and as a devotee. So he has the Sankirtan associates. And that's the reason. That's the reason why there's 5 of them. Yeah, that's the reason why there's 5 of them, because they're a Sankirtan party. And so you need at least 5 people. I mean, you can do with less, but
okay.
Sankirtan party. Yes, he's performing Sankirtan. It's Radha Krishna. That is a shikane shabna dia fiche neche gonita Radha Krishna bol shabai. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he's chanting Hare Krishna with the Panchatattva members.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Adi Dev. Ravikul Ramchandra, what's your question? Please, from Melbourne, Australia. Ravikul Ramchandra, what's your question?
Audio net. Zoom meeting with
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yeah, okay, Adi Dev.
Prabhuji, I have 2 questions.
And what's that?
First question is, what was the purpose of Mahaprabhu going to East Bengal? Like, was it to meet Tapan Mishra or to take the classes, as you mentioned?
Yeah, to take the classes was the purpose, to take the classes. to go there like outreach and just to like on tour, a teaching tour. And he collected contributions to take back to Navadip.
Okay. And the second question is, do we require a visa to go to Bangladesh Yatra?
Yeah, you require a visa. You can get, they're available. You can get from Delhi or you can get from Kolkata.
Okay, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, your promise.
Ravikul Ramchandra Prabhu.
Krishna Dhanottanam Prabhu. Prabhu, my question is regarding the Keturi and Ramkeli, the map that you have shown.
Yeah.
Or the picture, that's where the first time Panch Tattva appeared as a Panch Tattva.
Yeah.
when Narottam Das Thakur got all these books from Vrindavan
Yeah,
of Sanatan Goswami and Rupa Goswami.
yeah.
So Ramkeli is within Indian border, Prabhu, or is it?
That's
Can
right.
you show that map?
That's right.
Yeah.
Well, I don't have. Yeah, okay, I'll show you this.
The map where
Yeah, I'll show
Ramkeli.
you this. Yeah, okay. This one. So, and you can see, here's Mayapur. Here's the Ganga. You see this line here is the Ganga.
Yes, Prabhu.
So here's Mayapur. So up here where the Ganga branches, that Ramkeli is just a little further on up here. Ramkeli, Malda Ramkeli. And then just over the river is Keturi, where Rajshahi, where Keturi, where Narottam Thakur appeared. And Mahaprabhu, when he went to Ramkeli and met with Rupa and Sanatan at that time, he bathed in this, he came to the Padma River. And he bathed there and he left Prema in the Padma River for Narottam Thakur. And Narottam Thakur at that time hadn't appeared. He was not born. But so Mahaprabhu came 20 years earlier, or at least 12, 15 years earlier. And then Narottam Thakur in a dream, he got the dream that you should go and bathe in the Ganga, in the Padma tomorrow. It's about 2 or 3 kilometers from his home. We journeyed there. And he bathed in the Padma, and then he became overwhelmed with love of God. His complexion of his skin changed from darkish to golden. And Narottam Thakur. So that's the place. That's here. That's this river. And Mahaprabhu came from this side when he was in Ramkeli, which is here. He came from this side. He bathed here, and Narottam appeared on this side in Bangladesh at Keturi, and he came and bathed there. And then when he went to Vrindavan, he came back with the books. He conducted the first Gopanima festival here in Keturi with Jani Vimata, and at that time the Panchatattva appeared. So this is perhaps 15 years after the departure of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu.
And along with Narottam Das Thakur, who else were there, Prabhu, that time?
Shyamananda Pandit and Srinivasa Acharya. And they were 3 students of Jiva Goswami. And the other Goswamis had departed already. Rupa, Sanatan, Raghunath Das, Gopal Bhatta Goswami, they had already departed. And Jiva Goswami was younger because he was the younger cousin of Rupa and Sanatan. So he was alive in Vrindavan. Everyone else had departed. And Narottam, Shyamananda, and Srinivas, they went to Vrindavan. They're all students of Jiva Goswami.
Yeah. Thank you, Prabhu.
Yeah. And then they came back. Narottam came back to Bengal, and Shyamananda went to Odisha, and Srinivasa Acharya also in Bengal. And for that reason, the Narottam Thakur, his sampradaya still exists his preaching sampradaya still exists. His kirtan style still in many places in Bangladesh. The influence of Narottam Thakur's preaching is there. When I first went there preaching, then we met many of the Parampara organizations that had been there connected to Narottam Thakur, the kirtan style and everything like that. Still the tradition is there in Bangladesh.
Okay. And you were also explaining about the Pundrik Vidyanidhi's place.
DT.
Yeah, Pundrik Vidyanidhi, was it the birth appearance place of Pundrik Vidyanidhi that you showed in the picture?
No, that's we discussed that in previous weeks here. We were discussing the Leela of Pundarik Vidyanidhi initiating Gadadhar Pandit. So his birthplace is there in Chittagong also. I showed his deity, one deity that he worshipped, a Foram Narayan deity, which is still there, worshipped in Bangladesh. So we showed that picture.
Thank you, Prabhu. I'm hoping to join next week as well.
Okay, thank you all very much. We'll continue again next week. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Bye.
Hare Krishna, everybody. Hare Krishna. Thank you for joining.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Hare
हरे
Krishna
कृष्णा प्रभु जी, दंडवत प्रणाम।
कृष्ण प्रभु जी दंडवत
Krishna Prabhu ji, Prabhu ji.
दंडवत प्रणाम। हरे कृष्णा।
Hare Krishna Prabhu ji.
Hare Krishna Prabhu ji. Dhanawad Prabhu ji.
Hare Krishna Prabhu ji.
Hare Krishna Prabhu ji, Prabhu ji.
Hare Krishna Prabhu ji.
हरे कृष्ण प्रभु जी
Hare Krishna Prabhu ji.